the mothers are in the house already, so it's going to be a hot engagement, and I'm glad that women are on the call, and you are the first to be on the call, because there's a particular quote I'm going to share in the next few minutes, and I'm sure that it will kind of appeal to you. Get a sip of water. So welcome. Hello, everyone. This is Nugget for a Successful Life with Coach Aniekan and Team LTS. It's one of the most critical skills that you need to get in this time that we're in. I know the craziness that's been happening. I know what's been going on. Nobody's exempted from it. It's all part of, I say it's part of life. However, for over 2.5 decades, this skills in terms of goal setting, planning, goal attainment, has become the cornerstone of our lives. We've found out that if you can determine where you're going and you're clear, most people are not clear. It's easier to get there. It's easier to solicit for help and to get there at the end of the day. So let's get into the Mother Day. So this is our Mother's Day. I call it the Mother Day edition or special. All right, let's kick off with a word from our sponsors. I want to say thank you to our sponsors for making this possible every Sunday, day in, day out, except like 2 to 4 weeks when we are off a bit. We want to say, first of all, we want to celebrate the amazing women. I say you are all amazing. You're all different. You all, I say it's the female woman, the female male. It's not just in our community, but everywhere. I want to say a very big happy Mother's Day. It's not complete without you ladies and women. And this is my lovely mom. She's still very much alive. When I visited Nigeria, she had to make sure that I take this particular, it's called a fan from where I come from. I had to take this back with me. Sweet, sweet mother, I love her, and I'm glad that she carried me for 9 months. She didn't drop me halfway. And very sweet mother. So all the women out there, I want to say happy Mother's Day. I say this is not just today, but let me pause. I like to show you how much we appreciate you with this. Enjoy. Let me kick off with this quote by Margaret Thatcher. I know you all remember her. It says, if you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman. Now, I don't know how many of you agree with that, but I have found out to be true. I know we talk the talk and also walk the walk, but I think women are more into doing the work at the end of the day. Now, let's get into this. Before we get into I call it tip number one. I wanted to take us through just 3 tips this particular Sunday. We have just 60 minutes, so I want it to be as interactive as possible. So if you can't pause and say, hey, hi, I have a question, you can use the chat. I'm going to open the chat as well, so we can have the chat functioning for us as well. So please feel free to engage. Just make sure that where you are is quiet enough to at least, now, I'm not saying chase away the children, they make this fun, but then make sure that at least you are able to share your thoughts or your comment, or if you have a question, but I'll keep an eye on the chat room as well. Now that we've gotten that off the ground, the secret to a healthy, whether it's family or it's a society, it's quickly to understand that you as an individual, you play a virtual role, whether you are a man or a woman. You play, I call it a critical role at the end of the day. Now, amazingly, one of the things that we typically feel guilty about is taking care of our own needs. I don't know if it happens to you, but I found that it's something that we feel downright as if we're being selfish to focus on ourselves. So we kind of do that for everyone else. We will take up everyone else. Now I know that it's from a place of compassion and empathy and kindness, which is very, very okay. However, you can not neglect yourself. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Sometimes I did that some time ago when I didn't understand this, and it cost me. You can't neglect yourself. So if you've ever felt guilty about self-care, then you should consider these few facts that I'm going to share. I'm going to share 9 facts altogether, but not all today. I want to share just 3 today. Let's look at 3 in this episode. We'll look at 3 in the next episode, and then the episode after that, we'll look at another 3. You can now remember that it's interactive, okay? Tip number 1, self-care isn't indulgence. When I first came across the word self-care back then, I thought it was a form of indulgence. Who has time to take care of himself? The society I grew up in, if you grew up in the kind of society I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria, it didn't set a stage for men, especially. Now, women, okay, but men, it wasn't a thing for us. I mean, it was always, you've got to be a man. Now, let me bust your bubble for you men on the call. Taking care of your own needs is not frivolous. It's not selfishness. It's not. And I'm going to let that sink. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. Now, because today is Mother's Day, I'm going to zero down on the women on the call, because a lot of times women neglect. I'll tell you something. Some years ago, I spoke with a 55-year-old lady, and she was kind of confused. And I wanted to find out, so what's happening? Then she consulted with me, and she said that when she got married, her husband was her focus. So she helped her husband build his business, build what he was doing. She was all in. Then they had a daughter, and then she was with the daughter, and it was her daughter. He said, but now her husband's business is up and running, doesn't need her anymore. Her daughter is out of college. She's out. She's left the house. She feels empty. And I said that it's good, because sometimes I think we do that. We kind of abandon ours and pursue someone else because we don't understand that, listen, charity begins at home. You have to start with yourself. It's critical. It's very important for your well-being. You need to do that, because you see, for any reason, if you're not taking care of yourself, it's a high health risk issue that you're looking at. If not tomorrow, if not today, if not tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next month, sometime down the line. And I mean physical, psychological, emotional, mental health is at risk if you don't take care of yourself. No wonder why there are so many people giving up now. They're giving up. They don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. They are throwing in the towel. Things are not like before. You know, before we thought we were strong, we could take things, but now people don't take things like that anymore. They're breaking down. I can tell how many people I've spoken with who they're like, I don't know what to do anymore. So it's not an indulgence to take care of yourself. You have to get that into your system. That's the first tip. Second tip is this fact that other people, whether you like it or not, whether you're doing it or not, other people are practicing self-care. Now, before you start getting holier than thou, be sure that you need to understand that with all this hang-up that we're having, many people are practicing. You'll see people, I don't know if you've noticed, when I was in Lagos, in the mornings I used to go for my walk, I saw countless people going for walks. So more people are getting conscious of themselves, of their health, and they are looking to how do I stay healthy. In one of our programs, I showed a picture of this lady, and I asked that the audience should guess how old she is. Nobody got close to how old that lady was. I mean, when I told them how old she is, they were shocked. One of the ways to prolong your life is to make sure that you're practicing self-care, whether anybody likes it or not, whether anybody agrees with you or not. Because the truth is that with all the qualms, people are still taking time out to take care of themselves. Some of them are doing it because, okay, they should do it. Some of them have had health issues where the doctor told them, listen, if you don't slow down, if you don't do this, then trust me, you won't live long as you think. So some of us have had wake-up calls from different situations. If you have never had a wake-up call in terms of your health, don't wait for it. Because normally at that time, it's pretty too late to start to regulate a grown person or what to eat, what not to eat. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. So if you're putting other people's problem or needs first, why not yourself? And I'm going to pause here. I'm going to ask a question. If you don't take care of yourself, who will do it? Think about it. If you don't take care of yourself, who will do it? And if you're married, you might say, my spouse will. Okay. And what happens when your spouse is not feeling well herself because she didn't take care of him or herself? Who does it? So the first person who should be concerned about your self-care, your needs, the things that matter to you, you are the one. We said tip 1 is not indulgence. We are saying now that other people are practicing health care, self-care. They are practicing this indulgence, and I might agree, it's working for them. So you need to understand that. The third thing that I want us to look at is this. By you practicing self-care, what you're doing is that you are helping yourself so you can help others. You see, it's true for anything in life that focus creates blindness. What is in front of you, you can't see anything else. Whether it's an issue, it's a problem, it's a challenge, it's a project, it's your child, it's the situation, it's the government, whatever it is. Whatever you put in front of you creates blindness. If you want to take care of anyone else, you will need to meet your own needs primarily first before you can give, you can do for someone else. Because this is the irony. You can't give what you don't have. If you don't have peace, you can't give peace. If you don't have health, you can't give health. And this is the flip side. Most people who are miserable in life, they want others to join them. I don't know if you've picked up the call and just makes your day, just messes up your day completely. That because misery seeks companions. So if you don't understand that and you're not conscious of your own self-care, you could be drawn in different paths consistently. So the happier and the healthier that you are, the more capable you are in helping other people, especially those that you love. So you've got to take care of yourself. For those of you who have flown, I mean, we are all flown in an aircraft before, and then you'd always hear in the event of a drop in pressure in the cabin, oxygen masks will fall down from and you should take, they always say this, put yours on first. When I first heard that years ago, I thought it was being selfish. It was being, and I didn't even have a child. How can you have a 4-month-old child who doesn't even know left from right, or a 1-year-old child who doesn't know? Shouldn't I help the child first? Until I understood that in my trying to help the child, I would run out of oxygen. So guess what? I wouldn't be able to help the child, and I would have not just taken my own life, but also the life of the child. So I put my own on first. And then I have the capacity to be able to help my 6-year-old or my 7-year-old or my spouse or my friend or anybody else. If you're not helping yourself, if you're not making sure that your self-care is up, and trust me, recently I've had a lot of close friends who have been ill. Some of them have passed. Someone, was it last week, died, and I always like to ask, what was the issue? Most of them had underlying challenges that they didn't talk with anybody, they don't share, so they bottle up, and it's very, very common with men. I know you women talk, you kind of talk your issues, and because you talk, it relieves, it brings this relief for you. So it's a good thing. And when you do that, you don't understand that you're actually looking at yourself, you're actually thinking of yourself. So it's critical that you understand that primarily. Your self-care is critical. Your self-care is very, very, very important. Now, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to go ahead and I'll come off this so that we can get into some, I call it heart-to-heart talk, in terms of, because I know that, especially for women, you're practicing self-care on a daily basis. You're taking care of yourself. You're making sure that you're okay. You're running on all fours. So tell me what you're doing. I see that Henry's on the call, interestingly. I would try to pull up a picture of me and him. We went for this walk some time ago, and he does that very regularly. So when it comes to self-care, what are you doing? What are you not doing? What are you adding? What are you not adding? And I want to throw that open to the rest of you. So please, please, please feel free to pop in and let's hear, what are you doing in terms of self-care? Let me pull up the chat as well. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you very much, Coach Jose. So all the mothers, let's hear you. I know like that all the ladies, and they're like 4, 5, or you're on the call. So let me hear, what are you doing in terms of your self-care? You can chat if you can't talk, where your eye is noisy. But apart from that, let me hear you. And if the women are taking time, sometimes they kind of warm up. Let's hear from the men. All right, I think that the men are also, you're coming. Okay. I'm going to share the 3 tips here while you warm up. So tip number 1, it talks about indulgence. I'm going to pull up tip number 2 as well, and we'll look at it collectively. There are 9 tips, but I wanted us to look at 3 today because I wanted us to actually talk about it. So what's self-care like to you? Is it one of those things that we talk and we don't do? Or what are you doing in terms of your self-care? And then tip number 3 is the one we just looked at now, that you help yourself to help others. Okay, so I'm going to take it that nobody's practicing self-care. That's okay. That's very okay. Self-care would mean different things to different people. One of the things that I found out, it's not just self-care is an all-round thing. But today I want you to understand this. For instance, if you're thinking of self-care, apart from the fact that you're watching what you eat, you're doing your exercise, you're sleeping well and all that, there's what is called a self-care package. And we've talked about this before. It is something that you want to have in place because of the craziness of the fact that things are just going crazy generally around us. You want to find out what are the things that help you. Now, I've heard people say when they are tense or they are stressed or they go through, they're under pressure, they default to either go for a walk or listen to music. I know someone who what she does is to dance. So she just plays, just dance, and it helps to bring her back to. I saw something recently. I don't know who has tried it. If you're anxious or you're feeling under the weather, if you dip your face into cold water, so pour ice in water and dip your face into it, it helps to relax. I haven't tried that before. I haven't tried that yet. But I looked at that and I said I was going to try that as well. Some time ago, we talked about, I don't know if you've heard about it, say earthing or grounding. I used to hear it, never really knew what it was. So what I did some time ago was that I began to walk around without, I do it more often now. Before, I couldn't get off the bed without slipping into some form of flip-flop or something on my foot. But now I would sometimes go to the back where there's grass and I kind of walk on it for a bit. If I'm cutting the grass now, I would rather do it without anything else so that I can get that connection. But this is the idea. Everything that is helping me relax. There are certain people who they kind of increase my stress most of the time, either consciously or unconsciously. I have learned to minimize their presence. Trust me. So you have to do this. Talking about self-care. If I'm not 100% tomorrow, I can't help anyone. Now, when I can't help anyone, I become, so this is it. Every one of us is here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. When I'm unable to do that, then I become a problem, because now people have to leave what they are doing to begin to cater for me. So like, let me give you an example. About a week ago when I came back, my daughter wasn't feeling very well. So we took her to the doctor last week, and he ran tests on her and said that she might even she need to do some soft surgery, but she has an infection and it affected her. So she's now on medication, and she has to take that medication every 8 hours. So my phone will buzz at about 5 minutes before that time so that I can get about it, get to it, get it done, make sure that she gets her medication. Automatically, it means that I have to stop a lot of things. I was supposed to go fishing. I couldn't go fishing because she likes water, and if she goes to water, she's going to jump into water. So many things that I have to kind of reorganize so that I can accommodate that. Whether I should just drop her in school and then think about her after school is done. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times when we don't take care of ourselves, it means that we would not just become a burden for ourselves, but we become a burden for others, because now others have to cut short their assignment, cut short what they are doing to take care of us. So just think about it as though tomorrow morning when you woke up from bed, imagine if your legs refuse to function. If your legs said, today we're just going to go on break or something, we're going to go on recess, we don't want to walk today, how will you get up from bed? Now, you will either have to call a doctor or call someone or get some help because your legs are not performing. Same thing too for any part of your body. Same thing too for you as well, because you are a part of a bigger body. If you're not doing your part at every point in time, guess what? Someone has to pick that up. And whether we like it or not, it is what I do that makes me relevant. It's what someone said to me years ago, he said, Aniekan, what do you bring to the marketplace? Forget what everybody else brings to the marketplace. What are you bringing to the marketplace? Because at the end of the day, if I bring value, I take value, multiply. But it starts from understanding that I matter enough for me to take a break. When there's a project, I can't work on a project a whole year. Nah, I got to take a break. So sometimes you need to take a break. You need to pull back. You need to stop. I don't sleep with the phones in my room. I don't. Why? Because I'm not a doctor. I'm not on call. So why would you call me if you have an emergency? But you have to deliberately do that, not just do that once. Taking care of yourself, it can't be a thing that you do when you have time. It has to be a part of what you do consistently. And that's why I wanted us to look at those three things, because it's where it starts from. It's not an indulgence. And if everyone has told you that you indulge yourself too much, tell them it's okay. You need you to function for them to get the best of you. So it's critical that you understand that fundamentally, because if you don't, you will. Oh. I've been on both ends, and I tell you honestly, I've been on the part of you're being everything. Not even ice cream can do that for everyone. You're being everything to everyone. No, you have to understand that you are the piece that makes it all together. So take time out for yourself. Make out time for yourself. And I asked before, I asked the question, how are you doing that? Are you taking care of yourself? Have you, I know one or two of you who is having health challenge. And when I spoke with him, I said to you, I said, if you don't relax, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't look at what we're talking about today, you will not be fit for anyone, not you, not your family, not your friends, not even what you're doing. So you have to understand that and say, hey, listen, okay, because of that, I have to deliberately do things. I was talking about what I have as package. When I'm under pressure, I do a few things. One is to write. It really has a way of calming me down. I write. I realize that a lot of times when there are things going on in your mind and you don't find direction or clarity for them, the tendency is that the confusion, the fact that so many things are, I mean, you wake up sometime, you need to pick up the child from school, you forgot that you need to buy this so that you can make lunch for them. You have not gotten that, you were supposed to get this. So all those things are playing in your mind. I realize that those are one of the places where a lot of stress comes from. What I do is that when I'm able to take up either a pen, take up my pad and write, I start by asking myself, okay, Aniekan, so what are the things that you would love to do that are not yet done? I'll now write them down. I need to get this for this. I need to do this. I need to call this person. I need to write this thing. I need to do this. Once I'm able to get it off my mind and put it on my journal, and I sit down and look at it, it's a bit different because now it's not going on in my mind anymore. My mind can now be steady because my mind is not for, some people use their mind to remember things. So I use my notes to do that. I keep my mind for creativity. Now, when I look at that note, I can now see, okay, I have like 6 things that must do in the next 3-4 hours. Okay, which one will be number 1? Which one must I get done? Otherwise, the rest will break out. I would begin to put them in order of priorities. I said, this one is a must. This one is a second must, a third must, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth. When I go into that process, it begins automatically to calm me down, because now I'm not as confused as I was initially. And then I can see it coming together. I can see it possible. And I'll say, okay, so how do I get number 1 done? How do I get number 2 done? How do I get number 3 done? Once I start to look at it like that, it's not as difficult. It's not as pressuring as it was initially. I can now say, okay, now that I have it all lined up, let's get number 1 off the ground. Let's get number 2 off the ground. Even if out of the 5, I'm able to do 3 or 4, at the end of the day, I only have 1 that I didn't get done that day. So I'm asking myself, can I still do this later in the day? Can I do this tomorrow? But I would have that satisfaction and that relief and that peace that, okay, I was able to get the best done out of what I was dealt with. So I do that very often. I write. Something else that I do very often, maybe because of the sound of the water when it's flowing, I go fishing. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. The excitement, the anticipation, will they bite? Will they not bite? Are they biting? Are they not? That anticipation itself is enough to calm me. And then the third thing that I do is that I reach out to someone and see who I can help. Those 3 things are what I put in my self-care package. So when I'm under any kind of pressure, if I cannot get to write, if I cannot get to go fishing, if I cannot get to, you see what I'm going to, if I cannot get to go fishing or get someone to talk with, I would always have 1. And then I now have what I call backup to those 3. Because sometimes there will be nobody to talk with. It's midnight, nobody is awake at that time, or I can't go fishing at that time, or I can't get something to write. What's my 4th, my 5th, which is like the backup to these 3? You have that readily available. Don't tell yourself when, like we say, don't worry, when I get to that bridge, I will cross it. When you get to that bridge, you don't have legs or mind to cross. At that point in time, when you're under that kind of pressure, it's either fight or flight. And most times it's flight for many of us. But if you have your package, you just go to it and say, okay, yes, this is one of those days when things don't go the way planned. All right, so what do I do? Can I write? Can I go fishing? I've gone fishing middle of the day. I've gone fishing late morning. I've gone fishing anytime. Well, that could also be because I work, I run my own organization. But then even if you don't, you're working in 9 to 5, you have your break time. Your break time is that's what you're allotted in your job. That's period. What is 12 to 1, is 12:30 to 1, 1:30 is 1 to 2, whatever time it is. Within that time, you can do a lot of things. Some people practice breathing technique. When you're pressure, you an out breathing technique to help relax, but you must have way. I didn't say how to cope. I think we kind of run and say, okay, let me cope. I'm not asking you to cope with it. I'm asking you to handle it. I mean, to cope means, we talked one time about whether to adopt to the system. It's to be able to handle it. So you have to have a way, a clear-cut way where you deal with things when they come at you. It doesn't matter. And trust me, the closer people are to you, when those things come to you from them, the more painful or the heavier it is. So you must have, I call it a release mechanism, whether it's to go for a walk that you do, or to lock yourself in the room and dance, or to listen to music, whatever it is. It's critical that you do that. And that's what would help you get to stage 2 of understanding that other people are also doing it. I don't know if you have noticed that just because your own wall is upside down doesn't mean everybody's wall is upside down. And because your wall is not upside down doesn't mean that other people's wall is not upside down. So other people are practicing this. They may not come out and say it. I remember years ago, when I was when I was, I say when I was younger, then I used to hear, I was in church and I was involved in church very, very much, but I never heard my pastor talk about exercise or, workout or sleep, or eat. They told us that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, which is true. But how do I balance that? Is the question. Until one day I went to visit my pastor, and in his compound, he had his track up and track down, and he was working out. And I thought, I didn't ask him. I said, you didn't mention that you exercise. I thought all you do is the word. He said, no, you see, you have to understand that there's a balance between your spirituality and the practical approach to life itself. And a lot of times, if you cannot explain your spirituality in the light of your day-to-day activity, then you can lose essence with reality. And trust me, that in itself is another day's kind of pressure. So people are practicing self-care. They are doing it regularly. And in case you don't know anyone that does, or you say, I don't know anyone that practices self-care. No, you do. I do. So I practice self-care. So at least you know one person that does it. But if you do that, then that means it's just not just me, but all of us do it. And then the third thing we looked at is that if you help yourself, helping yourself is the key to helping others. If you're not helped, so if you don't have enough help, I don't know if you've noticed, you would pull others down with you. You would unconsciously pull others down. You would always pull people to the level that you are. That's the flip side. You always pull people. I don't know. I had colleagues when I was in Jamaica. Colleagues who generally, you know your friends, and you talk about everything and anything. Then I heard this quote one time that 5 years from now, I'll be the average of my 5 closest friends. So the first question I asked was, what are you saying? I should abandon my friends. I shouldn't talk with them. So I do what I do best. I began to study about connection, about proximity to people. And then I realized that truly, the reason that I was doing very well was because of my proximity to people like my mentor then, Oman Curl, my mentor then, Zig Ziglar, people like Jimoon. I was practically eating off their hand on a daily basis. I tell people I had this iPod, that one that you would rub your hand around to move from one to the other. I had that. And the material that I had on that, the personal development material I had on that was close to, even not more than $55,000 US. I had every kind of material, every book that made, I had it in audio, I had the audio, I had the training, I had their book, I had everything that you would need. It was a full library. And trust me, I didn't take it lightly. I dug myself into it. Now, because of that, I realized that you have three stages of friends. You have those that are where you want to go to. You have those that are with you on the same level. You have that are below you, that you are helping up to where you are. I spent more time trying to get people to where I am, and I spent little time with the people where I wanted to go to. So when I got a lot of people to where I was, that was where we all. Now I had companions, I had people who were indicated. So our discussion was, how nice it is, how good it is. We were not looking at going beyond that. And then I quickly had to change my approach and now said, okay, I spend more of my time with the people that I want to go to, where I want to reach to. That's why if I sit down with a doctor, I'm asking them medical questions. I don't tell them about my business. I don't tell them how I'm doing, how my program is doing this. I don't. I ask them about medical. Why do people live longer? Why do people Why do people get sick? Why is it that there's this? I asked them, what's your view on COVID-19, for instance? What do you think about COVID-19? For those who got COVID-19, what is their approach? I'm asking them medical questions. I was with Dr. Yebola last week, same thing. How do you stay healthy? How do you, and because that's what they are good at. Why am I going to be asking you about the government or the weather? It's a waste of time. So you need to spend more time with the people that you want to go up to, because if you don't, we flip back to that self-care. If you don't help yourself, if you don't have something, you can't give what you don't have. You must make sure that you are well, you are okay, not just okay mentally, you're okay psychologically, you're okay emotionally, you're okay financially, and you may not be where you want to be, but you're okay. And then once those are working for you, it's now easy to say to someone else, can I help you do this? Can we do this together? And it is critical. It's the bedrock. I call it the fundamental of life itself, so that you can be, do, and have all that you ought to be, do, and have. I'm just going to pause here a bit, and then I'll take a bit of questions. If you have questions, if you have comments, you can either, as I said, you can either share that, and maybe I should ask, how many of you have called your mothers? How many of you called your mom? You called your mom if she's still alive, and if she's not alive, we still bless her. How many of you have called your mom today? Okay, like I said, she did. Okay, so you called your mom. How is she? Oh, you can chat. Yeah, it's okay. You can chat. So apart from the when I called her mom, anybody else, did you call your mom? Or your mom is with you already, so you didn't need to call her. That's okay. But if you told her, if you said to her Happy Mother's Day, then yes, let me see you say that that you did contact your mom. And if you're a mother, did your children, your spouse, did they tell you Happy Mother's Day? That's the question now. I'm all ears. So go ahead. My eyes is on the chat. All right. So while we're still thinking on that, thank you for your response. It's how many mothers do we have in my children and friends did? Oh, no wonder you're so pumped. I salute you. I hope I told you Happy Mother's Day. Okay, no, I didn't. Okay, so Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Barbara. Happy Mother's Day, Blessing. Happy Mother's Day, Temitakwe. Happy Mother's Day, Tom. Happy Mother's Day, Coach Tosin. You're welcome. So in case no one told you, at least I've told you. So two things I've done now. I've shown you someone who is practicing self-care, and then I've also told you Happy Mother's Day. I'm just going to pull up my screen here and run into the last part of our program, if it's okay with you. It should be. Let's pull this up. Okay, so let me, from current slide. And then I'm going to minimize this. Oh, let me have the floating. All right, now, so many of you have been asking a few questions. Let me kind of see if I can answer that for you. Number one, we talk about the fact that I hear people tell me that yeah, sure, you can have ice cream. Back to the program. Many of you have asked for the recording of the program. Some ask, hey, was it covered? So please, if you want, you can go to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to get recordings there. Not all, but some of them that you can get to watch. So please take advantage of that. That's number one. Number two, we launched this book. What's that doing? Are you serious? No ice cream? Okay, I think I have to go and buy ice cream then when I'm done. Okay. Okay, go check it. Go check it. Go check it. So this book, 7 Steps to Handle Depression, that many don't know. I co-authored that with Coach Natalia. Wonderful read. Someone saw it and said, it's easy to read. I said, that's the whole idea. Want to be able to pick it up and read something quick and beautiful, and we wouldn't be tired today. Today's special edition is Mother's Day. On Wednesday, for those of you who have attended, it's Real Conversation with Coach Aniekan, and it's where I get to talk. Last week, we're talking about productivity. How do you get productive? I remember someone like Giselle, who got on the program, was telling us talking to us about the fact that she talked about the African time. Whoa, she talked about African time, and I was trying to picture that because I experienced that when I was in Nigeria. African time, I don't know. So someone said to me, you want to do a program at 3, tell them it's 2. So by the time they start to come, and I'm wondering, I don't think it's a good label for those of us who live in Africa that there's an African time. Because I know one thing for sure, nobody goes for their visa interview African time. So yes, we can sit down, we can adjust and get better at our timing. So let your 1 be 1, your 2 be 2, let your 1 be 1, your 2 be 2, 3 be 3. Stick to what you tell people. If you say it's you're welcome, Coach Tosi. If you say it's 1 o'clock, make it 1 o'clock. Don't go that 1:30. Don't go that 1:40. It's if you start to respect. We're going to have a program on how do you manage your time, because a lot of people say I don't have time. There's nothing like I don't have time. It's just a time allotment issue that you have, because everybody has 24 hours. And whether you like it or not, we have 24 hours to get anything that we need to get done in the day. So we kind of need to know how do we manage that. Now, a lot of people also struggle with this, and I think we're just going to create a video to help them. Once you've registered for the program, you don't need to register again. All you need to do is, either when you were registering, you'd have gotten the option to add that meeting to your calendar, whether it's a Google Calendar, an Outlook calendar, whatever, or Yahoo calendar, whatever calendar you're using. It gives you the option to add it. What happens is, if you do that, it will prompt you every time that the program comes on, and all you just need to do is go back, click on that same link. It just brings you into when the platform was open, someone like Barbara and Blessing were already on. They were already waiting for the program. They didn't need to do, and that's what you do. If you click on that, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes before the platform is open, it just tells you, it keeps you in a waiting mode, that once the meeting is open, you will have access into the meeting. So do that, and it also cuts across for all the program that we do, whether it's the Wednesday program, the Real Conversation. Once you've registered, just go. If you can't find your confirmation, so if you didn't do that when you registered, if you can't find your confirmation email in your inbox itself, check your spam, because it's either there. Just look, and once you see it, if you click on it and say, no, this is not spam, and take it from there, it's going to come into your inbox. That's where you want to click. Just go and add that so that it's easy for you to join whenever you want to join. Because I see people struggle. That's why some people, I've seen people last week, people couldn't get on the program because they were trying to re-register. Now, I know that there was a bit of a network issue last week, not just here in North America, but it was global, because I know someone in Welland had an issue. Someone in the States had an issue logging in. So I think it was just a worldwide challenge that we all had. But that's what you want to do. Make out time to come. Now, if you notice that we have shrunk the program, it's a 60 minutes program. We can have what we want to have in 60 minutes. And let me tell you why. The purpose of Nuggets for a Successful Life with Coach Aniekan and Team LTS every Sunday is to help you kickstart your week, help you look at your week in perspective so that you can see what you need to do See what you didn't do that you need to bring over. See what you've done so that you can step into your first work day tomorrow, knowing what it is that your week will produce. That's the whole idea. I know the program that is every day, and I'm part of that program as well. Every day I need to jump in and get my kick for the day. But this is your kick for, so it's not where we will teach you a lot of things. We're not going to give you 104 ideas. No, we want you to be able to zero down on one particular thing. Like for instance, it's either you've been practicing healthcare, self-care, you're going to start practicing self-care, or you're going to change some things about self-care about yourself, or you're going to put together your package. But there must be something specific that you're planning to do from this program. That's the whole idea. Get you thinking about whether it's one aspect of your life, thinking about it, and then what you want to do. And sometimes people would ask questions, say, okay, this, how do I handle this? How do I take care of this? That's where you will get some kind of support to help you navigate and kind of puts you in a position to go into your week successfully. And then by the end of the week, Saturday, you can review your week and say, yes, my week went according to plan. If you don't do that, we found out, you will end up counting your days. And people who count their days don't make use of it. You have to make your day count for you and not count your days. And that's why we do this every Sunday. On Wednesday, the purpose of the program Wednesday is to launch on topics. Now, the year just started. This is May. By next month, we'll be closing out the first half of 2023. Can you beat that? And a lot of times, if we cannot translate what we know into productivity, it can be frustrating. I don't know for you, but it does for me. So I want to know little, but do more of what I know. How do you do that? How do I translate what I know? Because I tell you something honestly, if you are able to put to use, implement half of what you know, trust me, you'll be better off than you are now. So we pack a lot of knowledge. We know a lot of things, but we're not really doing everything that we know. That's what we want this program to help you do. Help you kickstart, get your day, your week up and running. Because if you get your week up and running, then you have just 1 week to adjust. Not 1 month, not 1 year, just 1 week to adjust. And whatever didn't go as planned, you can review it on Saturday and say, okay, it didn't go as planned, what happened? Like me, for instance, every week I have just 3 things to accomplish. Now, there could be 10, there could be 20 things, but I always look at the top 3 first. If those top 3 are accomplished by Wednesday, I can go back and look at 4, 5, 6, but I zero down. So you remember what I said, that focus creates blindness. I am always looking at those 3. That's what I look at for the week. And that's what happens at my end. So I want to say thank you very much. If you have questions, I'll just open up for another 2 minutes to take 1 or 2 questions. And if there's no question, I'll be glad that at least I've been a part of your day. I've been a part of your Mother's Day celebration. So you can, for those of you in North America, you can go back and party. For those of you that are in Nigeria who is wrapping up, then yeah, it means that it's close to bedtime. So review your week, see what you want to do, accomplish this week. See who you need to partner with, who you need to check in with, who you need to be accountable to, so that it can help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. And if not, let's know. So I'm just going to pause here for 1 or 2 questions if you have any. You don't have to have a question. If you don't have a question, it's all good. But if you have a comment as well, it's all good as well. And I'll be glad to see if I can answer them. If you can, we'll take them to the next program and we'll help you answer it. And you have to reach out to you personally. We'll do that. But that's what the program is about. Thank you very, very, very much. I truly appreciate your time. It's one thing to spend time with, take out your time and spend it with someone. And I want to say thank you for doing that. I look forward to seeing you again next week, same time. Priority for your self-care. So prioritize your self-care. Critical. It's critical. Thank you, Tim. It's critical. Let it be top. I tell you that when it comes to my priority in life, it's one, God. Second, my health. First is God. Second is my health. So sometimes if something would not help my health, I would deal with it. I would stay away from it. I like soundness of mind. I like it. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say it's been an honor working with you, serving you on Nuggets for a Successful Life with Coach Aniekan and Team Elite. Yes, thank you, and I'll see you same time next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.